Hello, Sherry. How are you doing today?
I'm great, Ash. So good to see you at the beginning of this glorious new year. How are you?
Yeah, same here, same here. I'm very excited to have you on the show. Finally, after waiting for a very long time. Um, yeah, before we start, Sherry, then, do you have a favorite quote, something that motivates you, inspires you, you would like to share with our audience?
I do. It's actually writing on my return signature for my email now. It's from Dalai Lama, which I will die queue to have a coffee or a tea with. Probably that will be his choice. So he says many great quotes, as you know. My
Mm-hmm.
favorite of his is this, if I can say that word by word accurately. I think it's go along the line of gives the ones you love wings to fly, roots to come back to, and reasons to stay.
Wings to fly, roots to come back to, and what was the third one? Reasons to stay.
Reasons
Roots.
to stay. I like the third one so much, right? So
Mm.
there's always this a mom, right? So my son is my sky, my light, and we're very close and all that. I love him so much. Also, I don't want my love to, by any means, limit him, right? So
Mm.
you want to give the freedom to people you love. And also speaks to, I'm in the healthcare system for long, in the, scientific wellness now to really deliver a new kind of health. We'll dive into that if you're interested in. To me, empowering the customers of the company I built, the the interns we mentors from time to time, it just like, not like I'm down to any of them, right? But I'm supporting them to go free. I empower you. Come back if you need anything, food or rest or a bed to sleep. Go explore the world.
Indeed, indeed. And that's really, really inspiring because it covers almost all the phases of your life, right? When you're young, you're a teenager, you need the wings to fly, discover the world, understand what's going on, and find your own place somewhere where you'll be respected, you feel belong. But then you reach to a point in your life where you feel like, no, I think my nest is on the same tree where I started flying from, right? That's where my family is, my brother, sister, my mom, my dad is. And no matter how hard or how privileged the initial part of my life was, but I want to go back there. I want to be in the warmth of my family. And then obviously the reasons to be there, right? So definitely a thought provoking quote here. Thanks for that, Sherry. Let's get started then. So imagine we are in a room of full of ambitious founders. They're early stage builders. They're all into this startup founder space, and they got in there fairly recently, couple of years, maybe 3 4 years, right? They have different kind of challenges right now coming into their life. Some of them are facing challenges with product market fit. Some of them are facing challenges with how to acquire customers. Some of them are facing challenges with managing their teams, things like that. And then they're sitting in this room waiting for somebody to walk in on the stage. And suddenly the light goes off and a spotlight comes onto you. You walk in into the room, you have the mic. What would you tell them that every single one of them will stick with us for the rest of the hour?
Yeah, I love this framing. Thank you, or staging, I should say. Wow, geez. So first of all, that will be the space I belong. I want to be in.
Mm.
So thank you for that. Talking about belonging, and it took me a while to find that identity of founder. Um, so I'm gonna start with asking all of them and myself a question. It's not just a rhetorical question, it's kind of is, but it's a question that I think everybody will benefit from getting the answer for. And it might be a linked sequence of multiple questions, if you allow me. The first one will say, um, what is your self-worth as
Mm.
a person, as a founder, as an entrepreneur, right? We're all very ambitious energetic individuals, and we want to build things, we want to solve problems, we have big visions, we have grits and guts and all these. That's not given, but that's, I assume that. But what is the self-worth? Do you know that, right? So that's one question. And the second question that I want to pose with us is, do you know the worth of your health? So to make it, we all, drive business successes. We love numbers, right? So just to give a little bit of quantifiable kind of benchmark, um, health is long, it's a little bit vague and everything. So let's quantify or narrow down to how much you will pay to keep yourself completely healthy. So you're so productive, you're so powerful to do whatever you want, to play, to love, to work, and create value for the world for a year. How
Mm.
much you will pay to keep yourself in that state, most powerful state as a founder, entrepreneur. Now, think about, oh, sorry, you have a question?
No, no, I was just thinking how much I actually spend right now. I have like a gym membership for like 500 pounds. Then we always buy organic food. So that's like 20% threshold on top of like normal food.
Yeah.
We want to make sure that we feel motivated. So we join classes for yoga, for your cycling and things like that. So that's extra. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think quite a lot.
Yeah, I mean I would argue that's the best investment, right? So
Yeah.
that's one. The second part of that same question is, let's say you, and which applies to unfortunately many of founders, and because we're stressed and we're performing at high function all the time, and I've been there, done that, right? So if you suffering from chronic illness or conditions, from back pain to melanoma, right? If that's the case, metabolic issues, overweight, high cholesterol, and so on and so forth. So you are at risk for a really serious event, but you are kind of in that, trying to struggle with it and deal with it. So if you are sub healthy, how much you will pay to get healthy again? How
Mm.
much you will pay? Let's quantify that just for a year. And then we talk about next year, obviously, right? So again, just to give a benchmark, there's bright scientists trying to get answer for that. And then the number for what it's worth is over $200,000. Thinking about the cost, if you don't have the health to deal with the medication, treatments, testing, scans, and also the productivity loss. That's about over $200,000 per person per year for American. Globally, we can use it as, more or less, depends on where you are. I know your audience is global. That equates to trillions of dollars for any population of our size, right? So it's just, yeah, you get it. So
Mm.
those are the questions I'm gonna pose first, and then, building upon that, I would dive into. Love to see how, your answers to any of that or other topics you want to kind of root it from and dive into. Is I'm in health for so long that I think a KPI, so to speak, for entrepreneurs and founders like us is really missing most times. I'm trying to get better at it. Is health span of us as individuals, because health is the healthy years you live for in your lifespan. Usually it's 80% of 100% of whether you're 80 or 100 years old when you die. More or less, based on evidence, is about 80% is very good health, 20% is suffering, not so much good health, right?
Mm.
So health span is that first 80, 70, 90%, depends on the person we're talking about. And that's also my current devotion, can get into that. So I think, just back to kind of a more practical tips that I learned in a long way. If I'm still on the stage, I hope I still have the attention from those two questions. Is that trying to, who you are is very different from whether you're building and how successful your company or business is.
Mm.
Trying to separate the self-worth from it is the first step to a very long visionary founder's life, a longevity span, so to speak, as a builder, in my
Mm.
study. And then health is so important. A strategy, not a reward. It's a leading indicator actually in that KPI kind of a metaphor to me. And we need to really equip the founders community with that kind of a mentality and thinking model. And that way we can empower me and you and everybody to do so much more, to build so much more for the world. Because I really believe the founders, if I wrote a book recently, I call it the founder effect. The founder's identity is such one of those most powerful things for humanity to keep building, increasing the scope of, as a society, what we can become. I will just stop here. I hope this makes any sense.
No, I was just intrigued that how so. Okay, I do agree with you on that. That what happens is usually when the founders go for, let's say, if we take a scenario here, when they go for raising capital funds, right? When they go to the VCs, the primary focus is they're explaining the pain point and the solutions, right? They usually tend to lowball their own their own personality characteristics. Mostly, though, the investor actually invest on the founders. They understand if the founder has the fire. They understand if the team has the capability to deliver what they're promising, right? This kind of things, and then based on that, they make a decision, and then they inject the capital into the startup or fund them. How do you think, or based on what you have written in your book, how do you think a founder should utilize the power of their own self, their own personality, while trying to inspire and influence other people? Because that's the key in founder space, right? If you're influencing people, like if you're influencing investors, you get capital. If you're influencing your customers, you get money for the product. If you're influencing the talent in your industry, you're getting good team members to work with you. If you're influencing bureaucrats, then you get policies aligned in a way that it supports your business. So, how do you think the personality, what kind of role the personality plays, and then how you can utilize that trait into getting more better when you influence
Yeah,
others?
yeah, it's a really deep and view of this. I like it. Let me try because it's a lot to unpack here. I think just kind of go back to my own journey, which I studied analyzed very deeply, whether writing my book and then talking to people like you on podcasts. The identity of founder is something that is so precious that we all need to protect over time. Doesn't matter what we build and how that company or the organization or the teams is performing, right? So that's kind of my first um, points that we just talked about. What is your self worth? Everybody has a different system. That's up to you, but just protect your identity such that you can continue building this thing and the next big thing and the things after that, right? I mean, we all have many decades to live through, and with the founders mentality and capability, we want us to be living for and working for a long time, right? So in order to do that, you have to enjoy the walk, so to speak. If you enjoy the walk, you are having fun, and you know that you're a founder, right? When you have fun in building the things that you devote day and nights, you sleep it, you dream it, you shower it, everything, right? The people that you, and whether it's working with you or being supervised by you or partner with you, they will sense that. You can fake it. I know some people trying to over present it. I think you just have to be, I call it the beauty inside out, right? If you are having fun building that thing, mission driven, your team gonna sense that, and they will become the same, same team mentality, and investors will sense that. a lot of the comments I got from my investors over the years is they love the energy I presented. They love how mission driven I am as a founder, CEO, and entrepreneur and builder, whatnot, right? They sense that I didn't ask for that kind of comment. They always give it to me. So I know that, and then that results in millions of dollars raised. So for my last company, by the way, I was the sole founder, grow it from an idea, science driven, because I'm a obesity genomics expert, and build this personalized nutrition platform before I joined my longevity group. We raised $14 million over less than 6 years of in the run, and then it's still growing. And today, and we reached more than 180,000 lives in America, right? So it's a scalable function when I am having fun. That's my data point one. But I think I'm mentoring enough of other founders and in my community. I think I see that over and over again. So have fun and enjoy that, and then that energy gonna propagate. It will grow too, right? When you delegate or not to delegate your model, other people learn from you and do more. Your one person's energy become 100. Does that make sense? Does that answer some of your?
Yes, I think so. I did kind of touch the direction I was going through. Tell me, Shay, if somebody is at the initial stages of their founder's journey where they're trying to build a new product or trying to solve a pain point of customers, when it comes to getting more I mean, you've been running you've been founder for a long time, so I don't want to call your business as a startup because it's been existing for a very long time, so you have gone through all these jumps and hoops. Tell us more about your first business. What was it about? How did you started it? Why did you started it? And how did you got your first customer?
Mm-hmm. Great question. Yeah. So Genopilot is my first American companies. I had two Asian market focused companies before that as a co-founder or co-founding member. So that was very useful just to provide that context. When I decided to launch, just having that idea of having Genopilot, I was assistant professor at Medical College of Wisconsin studying obesity metabolic syndrome when obesity became, this is 15 some years ago, we realized that's a pandemic. It's a real pandemic affecting all populations, Americans and, British and Indian, right? So one of the reasons is what's in our gene pool. So I was trained as a molecular biologist. I got a PhD at Marquette University, and then, continue on my postdoc, very long, very enjoyable journey, generating new knowledge. So my toolbox, including all the, deep omics screening. So we can, as you probably aware, or maybe even use that, is a deep sequencing of your genome. What's in your DNA make ASH unique and differently from Yi Shari Zhang when we eat identical foods, but outcomes for metabolic is different, right? So that's kind of in a nutshell what I was working on for over a decade. And then during that time, I got into other omics, epigenomics. I published the first paper epigenomic screening for metabolic syndrome using Caucasian, pedigrees and population. I had a lot of fun generating those. There's other omics and proteomics and microbiome, which is a very trendy right now. And then during that time, the problem I was solving, which is global metabolic crisis, affects everybody. The problem, a technical problem or access problem I had is I don't think everybody have the easy, affordable, useful access to this one piece of information sitting in us for millions of years from our ancestry, which is genomic DNA. And then my expertise and specialty is on the metabolic endocrinology of it, right? So what specifically will affect our metabolism of the same foods, turning something we eat and drink, substances, caffeine, alcohol, how does that go through our system, become whether a friend or foe for our longevity, right? So that's the access is the key issue. Access is giving the access to everybody. Everybody is the key word here, is a problem I want to solve. And then as a problem solver, I wasn't married, so to speak, to any means. It can be in research, can be in nonprofit or company. And then after all years of experiences and kind of got involved into delivering innovation, whatnot, through commercial vehicles, I realized if I want to do this, or at least try to solve this for the world, this problem, giving access to health of your DNA and through nutrition for health, is actually through starting up a company. A lot of coffee talks. I can't tell you how many coffees I did with people I knew, people I didn't know. That's fantastic, by the way. Always another lesson, just a quick plug in, is build your advisory circles before you need it. When you need it, usually it's too late. But when you have this design of mentorship, mentors, networks, build those relationships over time, you'll get a lot of timely help. With all that, I got a lot of timely help from local investors, incubators. Generator is one of the nation's American grade incubator programs, and accelerator program, I should say. They help build scale up, not just startups, also scale ups now. So I benefit from that relationship and then so on. Long story short, probably, I don't know, I've thought about this idea for a really long time. I was really happy as a scientist, love what I did. I want to generate the knowledge before the world knows and then talk about it, publish it. But again, it's the system was too slow for me to solve the problem I wanted to solve. So I run the company. I started the company. I have a full-time job until I really couldn't do two jobs to give the full attention while being a young mom at the time. So that's really splitting my sanity. And as you may know or may going through that, it's a very hard time because I love the job. It's a hard earned privilege to become assistant professor, doing exactly what I dreamed of doing growing up as a girl coming from China, and then that's all I wanted to become is a professor. And then, but this new dream, this powerful thing that I just found myself, you can tell when you sleep which dream you dream first, right? Is it the generating the new knowledge, publish the best paper for obesity genomics, or is it seeing lots of individuals? I see faces in my dreams. They will benefit from the knowledge that I deliver to them. They will be healthier. They will be empowered. They will live a longer time. Because I'm thinking my mom will benefit from it. Myself will benefit from it, right? My neighbors and so on, my son, who will all turn into customers. So anyway, and then I knew, okay, this is a stronger calling than the other one. So I quit my dream job. It's one of a typical, professor, scientist turned entrepreneur. I didn't have MBA from Harvard. I just want to solve the problem. This is the way. So I did that. It was very hard. My book told a little bit, here, there, all the inside stories if you want to read it. But that's the best decisions I have ever made. And I will never look back. I'm still having all these, great friends from, academic systems, and they're still helping me and partner with me, give me knowledge. But just being able to translate science or whatever your company is about and deliver that to an individual and a populations or groups is so powerful, right? That's what makes founders and entrepreneurs so special. So that's kind of the starting point, and we can dive into kind of how I scale my company and then turn into my longevity platform that I'm
That that
working.
is that is what exactly I was about to ask you. Like, could you give us a sense of the science of the business? Where are you in terms of revenue, number of customers, size of team, etc.?
Yeah. So just from Genopilot perspective, 9 years, more years in if you're counting the ideation. So over 10 years, I was building it, running it, raising all the time, raising fundraising all the time, as you resonate with, and scaling from to your question. I wanted to answer fully. So I'm always the first customer of any product and services I launch to the world. That's kind of my philosophy or my mantra. But not, I recommend it to all the founders, but it's not a requirement, I guess, to be successful. But when one of my mentors in the generator accelerator programs said something that stuck with me all the time, is he said, well, you have a great network. All the people that buy, so we're a testing kit, costs about $300, which is a lot of money. We talk about the worth of how much you pay for your house, right? But it's some money. Not everybody can afford it initially, but that's how I can afford to offer it in the beginning. People have to pay 300 or 200 later to get into the system and get a report and started to have personalized nutrition regimen for personalized to their genomics. So that's what I buy into. My mentor said, well, how many did you sell? Right, the big question. I said, wow, I sold like 54 of them. Right, it's great. It's just literally me running, right, not door to door, but it's in the network. Accelerator program put me on stage, and everybody got excited. Some people will buy, right? So these are the people know me or know me indirectly. So they have a lot of there's a credibility that it's a bought, not earned, if that makes sense, right? But they are not strangers, and that cannot scale. So that's the that's the kind of a lesson learned here. If founders can use it, and I definitely benefit from that philosophy. And then so he said, tell me when the first stranger that have no relationship with you, Sherry, bought your Genopilot test kits and enjoy that, and you call me, okay? and that happened months later, but that happened, and I did a lot of things to make that happen. It's a very hard earned event or milestone, but when that happened, but that trigger is a very, and then if you put there is automation of marketing or BD or whatever suitable for your outfit of business, and that is scalable, right? Then all of a sudden, I can be running other things, whether it's from science to business, organizational. I'm in front of my computer, and all these build up started to sell 1, 2, 3, 4,000 and 10,000. And when we reach beyond, I don't know, 5,000, from 5,000 to our first 50,000, it takes, I think, less than 2 years, right? So, and then started to see this flywheel turning, because the model is set up right. The experience I build out to make the first stranger sales is very different from when I sell to my mom and friends and people believe in me. So I hope this helps. But I think it's it's an aha moment for me, as when I was very early. I was in the early stage of building this very sophisticated, science-based, expensive kind of testing-driven platform or company.
Indeed, indeed. And what kind of strategies do you use right now to generate more leads? For example, to basically get more customers? Because right now you're a matured business. What sort of strategies do you have in place? Do you do paid marketing campaigns? Do you have a lot of content out there which brings you a lot of inbound leads? Do you hire marketing team to do outbound lead generation? Or do you have like influx of uh, ma- like viral marketing, like friends suggesting their friends or
Mm-hmm.
families?
Yeah. So I'll speak to GenoPilot, and then we can at a later time dive into the longevity platform that I'm building. It's very, very new, very exciting too. So GenoPilot, I'm exited the operation just as a evolution of founder for your founders listening. and I'm still supporting its growth and strategies as a board member, right? So just think about a person's, a founder's identity evolution a little bit. For speak of Genopilot, which is a very mature separation operation now, we actually benefit. I don't want to say graduated, but it's definitely enriched from 100% D2C, direct to consumer, one-on-one selling. There is a lot of very much on digital social media, content marketing through our blogs and things like that, into B2B2C, so to speak, right? So through a channel, that channel has, whether it's a healthy grocery store, a grocers who has a very good online, offline presence, work with us strategically. They have, usually we look for national or regional to national, footprints, and that's great. They buy into our system, apply, integrate us, plug it into servicing their clientele, right? So that I call it B2B2C. It's not a B2B selling. It's, think about, find those strategic partners that align with your mission and methodology that can lead to one channel to many. And then once one is in, it's much easier to sell to the second and then third and the 10th partners. We also
So it's
leverage.
basically word of mouth then, because you have uh, somebody to prove your social proof, and then based on that, what what I was trying to understand is what are the different strategies you're bringing to the table as a provider to convey the right message to the right customer at the right time so that they become a customer.
Mhm. How does we close the sale, so to speak?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the biggest challenges space founders have is to get, eyeballs on their
Yes.
product or service, right? That is what. So I had more than 200 guests on the show,
Wow.
and most of them have became successful because they're either really really good with marketing and sales, or they understood it that they were not good at it and they hired somebody to do it for them because they were good at some other bits and pieces. And that is what I want to understand in your perspective, because health science is a very complicated space. First of all, you cannot just go and build an app or a tool in this space and launch it. It takes a lot of capital, it takes a lot of patience, it takes a lot of endurance to go into this space and make money, first of all, because there's lots of compliance, right? And secondly, it is super difficult to sell things in this space because people understand that the salt is same in a paracetamol, which is a Tesco brand, or a Walmart brand, and a paracetamol which is very well known in CVS, right? But they always go for the CVS because they know, even if it's double the cost, but it has the brand, so it has that responsible element attached to it. So if something goes wrong with me having this paracetamol,
Yeah.
I have somebody to call to, I have
Yeah.
somebody to blame to. That is what the biggest challenge is in the life science spaces, isn't it? So
Yeah.
that's what I'm trying to understand, like, how did you overcome that challenge?
Yeah. What you're essentially saying is, how do we build that trust for a credibility, high credibility requiring product and service? That applies to anything that we put out there with quality, right? I think building a scalable system is the key. What does that mean? For example, um, when we find a technology platform enable our customers to offset the $200 test kits, for example, and other coaching, and we have, registered dietitian coaching, a big portion of that by regulation and policy is, can be paid by HSA, FSA, LSA, right? So that's a big deal.
Hmm.
And there's, plug-in system now doing that. When I started, there weren't options like that, but 5 years ago, 3 years ago now, it's it's like it's a turnkey solutions, right? You need to find the strong partner. But when we did that, that just have it changed the dynamic of selling from push to pull. And if you do the awareness campaign right, which, by the way, everybody should, however powerful you are, you think you are a good marketer, always build a good in-house marketing team. That could be
Team.
one person show, it could be 10 people show. And also outsource the function that you're not good at, to your point. I'm very good at knowing what I'm not good at. That's one of my superpowers. And people hire the talent, go scout them, bring them on, compensate and complement my expertise. And you, as a founder, CEO, CSO, whatnot, you're gonna get so busy, you can't do it all. And we need to realize that. So back to that, finding those, that's just one example, but I hope that makes sense. You find those internal engineering, right? You treat that as an engineering problem that we had is too expensive. Not everybody has $200, let alone, people don't even want to spend that $200. That's a different problem, right? That's a mentality issue, a convincing issue. You can educate, you can use digital campaign. But once they convinced, there are people saying, Sherry, I love what you offer. And we offer a lot of, $1,000 programs and so on. They got in initially with a $200 kit, and later we pushed out something called, biological aging related epigenomic testing. It's $1,000 worth over time. And I got on call with my customers, which I enjoy most actually. I learned so much from what they shared, and some of them saying, "I love this, but I just couldn't afford it today," you know. But when we implement the tool I just talked about, a lot of people be able to lower the barrier. People have access to this, right? So finding a few of those, even just one powerful one for whatever the problems you have, resolves the barrier so that those customers who are interested already can be converted into a first time customer, repeated customer, and long time loyal customers. So that's one toolkit, or a lesson learned. Other things will be, I'm not a big fan now, especially doing D2C driven platforms for long, that purely focusing on throw, kind of the shotgun approach. Throw a lot of dollars into all sorts of social media, a lot of different marketing channels to see which ones stick. And I think you should do that if the nature of your business is consumer facing or requires, the advertising as a booster. But I think for any founders who want to scale and grow their operations, the sales force or the function to the next level, definitely hire the right people. A good leader can, bring all the strategies in and talk like what we just discussed, like this, what really works, what's really suitable for healthcare products or IT or, AI, software, whatnot, whatever you're selling. And
Mm.
then diversify that models of acquisition. Acquisition is so important, especially for D2C model. We you know if I don't look at any other KPIs, I'll look at the CAC, right? The cost of acquisition cost for our customers. Because when the CAC is lower than certain level, right, there's LTV, basically long time value over CAC ratio. Once you turn into certain magic number for that company, for us that is a 2.1,
Yeah.
all of a sudden you become profitable operation. All of a sudden you can invest back into other things that's important to the longevity of operation. But when you're below the water, you just constantly struggle with getting above the water, right? So I think just kind of back to how we started this, kind of long range of a really good deep discussion. I really think for me, I evolved as an entrepreneur and founder from one to two. I thought at 30, I thought success meant surviving, meaning surviving a different culture. I came to this country with 3 bags of shoes and music sheets and whatnot and $3,000, right? So that's what you have. And I have a very supportive family, but that's kind of what I begin with, and you make it work. And then I was trained as a scientist and never trained as a business person, but I wanted to solve a problem as a business person. So I trained myself on the job, right? So I'm surviving
Sure.
all the time. And then I grew from a company idea to benefiting many, many lives. But this is when my first kind of a founder's phase, first phase as a founder. And then I hit a wall, and we can talk about it, or we don't have to talk about it. And I did a reset. And that was really, really helpful for me to continue growing as a person and founder. And after the reset time, I think I broadened my horizon, so to speak, to really not limited. But right now, I feel stronger than ever, wiser than ever, right? Even though I'm older and everything, but that's okay. But I feel I can do so much more than just that company,
Sure.
one company.
Sure.
So yeah.
Sure. Yeah, that's helpful. Thanks for that, Sherry. So we are now reaching towards the end of our interview, where we have 6 quick fire questions. Um, at any stage, if you don't want to answer any of these questions, just give me a skip and I can move on to the next one. How does that
Okay.
sound?
Sounds great. Let's go.
Great stuff. What are the top 3 strategies to generate more eyeballs on your life science space startup in 2026?
Yeah. For the new platform we're building at the Bach Institute on research of aging, for research on aging, we are some of the top intellect of the world. I think to have generating more eyeballs, you really need to deliver and spread out, disseminate the knowledge with depth and density and quality. So that's just kind of using one example. If you're in the healthcare, sector, I I really think this world can use more credibility, the right kind of useful knowledge to help people become healthier.
Got it. Got it. What book would you recommend to our audience and why?
I would love people to read my book. Its name is The Founder Effect. It's a talking about my journey. A lot of which talk about today is there. The backstories, especially, it's interesting. But if there's another book I would recommend, is written by my friend and mentor, Dr. Nathan Price. He helped define the sector we're in. It's called the Age of Scientific Wellness. Very good read. You learn a lot, not only for if you are in the health or wellness system trying to change the world for better, but also for yourself. They will tell you what exactly to apply science to live well.
Got it. What one attribute or characteristic in your mind of a successful founder?
Really think about the self-worth and the worth of your health, the longevity side of things. I think that will give you another, if you haven't already on that, give you another long arc
Mm,
of thinking model, so that build your company not just for quarters, but for decades to go.
sure, sure. What's your favorite personal productivity tool or habit?
Um, I think along the line, the communication side, the LLM systems out there, all of them are great. So I'm utilizing more and more of those for my productivity.
Great stuff. What's a new or a crazy business idea you would love to pursue if you had time?
Like pursue or just talk about pursue?
Well, if you had time,
Yeah, if I time. I don't know. It's just really what I'm trying to do today. And we're trying to extend everybody's health span by 10 years in the next maybe 10 years, maybe 5, maybe 20. It's very, very doable just through scientific wellness, whatnot, and deep learning of our biology. And
Sure.
it's just so empowering. Then we can build more companies.
Sure. Uh, what's an interesting or fun fact about you that most people don't know?
Actually play piano pretty well. I was almost get on the track to become a classical concert pianist when I was actually teenager. And
Hmm.
but curiosity and also the family, focus on education of other things versus just playing piano, take me to life sciences. So I still play today. I just play at a concert for a benefit for Feeding America recently. I had so much fun. So I just reminded me you need to have your hobby or other things that give you a lot of joy, to be a wholesome person.
Great stuff. Well, Sherry, thank you so much for joining me and sharing your story. If people want to get in touch with you, they want to ask a question, what's the best way to do it?
Yeah, thank you. I mean, this is so great. I love this, Ash. So I have a website. It's simply esherryzhang.com. Or follow me on LinkedIn. I'm assuming you're gonna share your show notes, and I can provide those links through you as well. Yeah, I'm big on engagement and feedback. I ask questions, and I try to get answers sometimes. And then the book is some backstory. How anyone wants to dive into how I become who I am, feel free to grab one and read it.
Great, Sherry. Thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your story. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on Founders Podcast.
Thank you, Ash.